Thank you for doing this AMA. I know you're busy, and thank you so much for taking time. And hope you're doing well. It's been a while seeing you as well. So I know I kind of the way that I'm kind of thinking about this AMA is to kind of have a few questions to you.
Yes.
Basically towards how you built your career in civil engineering. What are the domains that you're looking at civil engineering? What are the different domains that are booming in the current market, and all those aspects of it,
Sure,
so that
Surya.
kind of people can get an understanding on how to build that profile, right?
Yeah.
So Anu, can you kind of give a brief introduction about yourself, and we can start from there.
Yeah, sure, Surya. We'll do that. Hi, guys. My name is Anu. I have 15 years of experience in design domain. I have designed many structures like commercial building, industrial building, residential, and even highway roads, road design, pavement design. I'm into all kinds of design. So it is like I started my career as an estimation engineer basically, but then I thought that I was more interested into design of buildings. So I started to learn Stat Pro. But when I entered into the design domain, I understood that StatPro is not the basic thing. The basic is structural analysis, which every student has to have core knowledge on how the structure behaves before entering the design domain. So it is like they have to have keen knowledge on building codes. Then they have to have good knowledge on BMD, SFT, how the structure behaves when loads are acting on it, what are the kinds of loads to be considered, and all those things. Starting with whoever wants to enlighten their career in design domain, they should have some basic knowledge on softwares like StatPro, ETABS, and some. If you're interested into RCC design, this is fine. Or else if you're interested into steel building design, then it is like you have to have knowledge in Tekla structures, and we have many kinds of structures like it is like it is not only RCC and steel. Now it is now the booming market is tensile structures, because many contractors are willing to use steel building, because since steel is very heavy, they want to move on into tensile structures. So it is like it is a lightweight structure where we use to build stadiums, then tennis courts. Nowadays people are contractors are using or willing to use this kind of structures, so that they can reduce the steel quantity. So it is like uh, uh, we have softwares like Dulbal, which is an RFEM software, K310 for the fabric design of that tensile structures. And also we do have other softwares like for composite structures. We have softwares and connection designs. We have many softwares which many companies are looking in for fresh graduates. We have softwares like Limcon, Descon. So I think to on the higher side, if you are interested in design, if it is an RCC design, then you should have knowledge on ETAPS and STAT. And if it is on steel design, then you should have some design on connection designs. Then yeah, basic knowledge on Tekla, and AutoCAD and Revit is mandatory, whichever line you choose on. So this is what the design basics you should know about. Apart from that, nowadays we have many companies who want to set up their design centers, global design centers in Chennai, in India, preferably in India, because they just wanted to outsource their abroad works from UAE, from UK to India, since the manpower cost is low. So many companies are looking on in for fresh design engineers, and if you have these skills, may preferably with these skills, they are very willing to take you on board. So this is the market booming now. So it will be good if you are having good knowledge on these softwares. That is like uh, uh, live project experience, like how we provide.
Okay. Anu, so just to kind of take one step back, say, for example, you said you initially were an estimations engineer
Yes,
and then moved on to kind of
yes,
structural design. And in order to uh, you basically learned stat pro first, and then you realized you needed to kind of also be good at fundamentals of structural analysis. What are the different building codes? What are the type of loads acting on structures, and what loads to be considered, right?
yes,
So I think the audience out here might be a little of a third, fourth year and fresh grads. So if you are currently getting out of college, right? So
yes.
what would you do? Would you just learn a software package, or would you also learn the fundamentals? And if that, and if say, so say for example, giving a mechanical engineering or a electrical engineering example, right? Like every domain, the fundamentals, there is a certain fundamental theory that you need to understand in order to go implement it on a particular software, right?
Yes, yes,
That's when the whole aspect is really the analysis or the design is actually real life oriented, right? If not, it's more of whatever the input is given is basically gotten as an output. So what do you think about that? How should a fresh grad or or a student studying in the undergrad should go about this?
yeah. So whoever is passing out of college, if they want to enrich their career in design, then it is mandatory. First, they know the structural analysis. They should have a very good knowledge on structural analysis. Then they should have knowledge on codes. That is, we have n number of codes used for design, or like IS 875, IS 456, IS 800 for steel. So they should have a very good knowledge on these codal norms, because while doing any model using a software, first is they do with the modeling phase, and then they have to apply the loads. For this calculation of loads, they should know which code to refer. So it is mandatory they should know about the code numbers and the application where it is applied, and which where they have to refer for the specified loads, so that they get a clear idea on it. And it also varies depending upon the buildings. For industrial building, it is a different load category. For hospital building, it is a different load category. So they should know from which code they have to refer all these loadings. And after which, they it is not that we directly take the loads from the code and apply it. We should have there is minute calculation which we have to do it in an excel sheet. Like for wind load, depending upon, for example, we have many kinds of, even if you take a steel building, we have many types of steel building, say a monoslope or a pitched roof. So the loadings to be considered for those buildings also varies as per codal norms. So it should be mandatory that they should know how to calculate these loads. Because when you see, when they teach, normally when they teach stat pro in a firm, in any firm, or in any companies like cat center, something like that, they normally take the loads from the inbuilt in the stat, but which is not a correct way of designing the structure. It is that we have to follow as per the codes. For that, the candidate should have a very good exposure as per the codal norms. So it is like, we have to calculate, know how to calculate the load. And once we do the analysis, the candidate should be able to diagnose whether the model, whatever he or she has done, is right or not. Because whatever we give input is what we get the output. If you have given a wrong input, we should be able to identify that the model or the values whatever we are getting is wrong. For that, we should know the basic knowledge of BMD and SFT, and how the structure behaves when load is applied.
And what's BMB and SFE? Can you just
BMD
explain?
is the bending moment diagram, and SFD is the shear force diagram. So for
Okay.
a beam, how it behaves, for a simply supported beam, how the beam will behave. So that when you see the results, we can identify that what our design is right or wrong. So from the hogging or sagging moment, whatever we get in the model, we can understand that our model is perfect, and whatever input we have given is right. Or else it is like working blindly without any basic knowledge. So it
Yeah.
is mandatory that we have to know all these criteria, how the building behaves when load is applied.
Totally makes sense. So, taking one step back, now say, for example, as an engineer, I know the fundamentals of, say, bending moment diagrams, shear force diagrams, and I basically know the different building codes, right? So there are like mechanical or electrical engineering. In civil engineering, there are like multiple softwares like StatPro, ETABS, Revit, Tekla,
Yes.
like n number of softwares, right? So if new for a new undergraduate engineer, what you'll be like asking is, what is the software I need to learn now to get a job, right? But usually that does not work in such a way, right? So you basically take a particular domain. Say if it is civil engineering, you say, okay, in civil engineering, what are the different domains? Is it steel, RCC, structural analysis? Like there should be multiple subdomains of civil engineering, right? What are the
Yes.
subdomains of civil engineering, Anu?
Yes, we have different domains like structural engineering, planning engineer. That is a job-oriented domains. Whatever I am telling. So you can be an planning engineer. You can be an estimation engineer. Then where you calculate the quantity of steel or concrete required for a project. So planning engineer plans the project from the start till the end using Primer or MS Project softwares. And you can be a QA QC engineer where you will be able to, where you have to check the quality of the concrete arriving at site. That is, the test should be performed at site and should be you should be able to know what is the value. That also it should be as per the codal norms. Everywhere it is codes only in civil. So the basic code, whatever field you want to go, it is like you have to be thorough in that codal norms. And all these are site oriented fields like planning, QA QC, estimation engineer. All these are related to site jobs. But if you want to have a I don't say that design engineer doesn't need to go to a site. It is mandatory for a design engineer to go to site to check their designs, or else it will be a flawful design, because whatever the design engineer gives, it's not mandatory that they construct at site. So that is where all these misleading of structures happening. So it is mandatory for the design engineer to go to site, but it is like what you design, you can just see it virtually. That is a profession of a design engineer. Otherwise, estimation engineer, planning engineer, everywhere we have specific softwares to be aware of. So yeah.
Sure, thanks. Manu. So I'll also kind of, the next question actually I had was to kind of understand what are the softwares in these structural planning, estimations, QA/QC that people use. But apart from say building design, right? Apart from, right,
Yes.
say infrastructure design. Say if you take look into civil engineering, there's construction of bridges, construction of say railways,
Yes.
laying of
Roads.
railroads, railways, construction of different types of infrastructure, right? Bridges, rails, metro stations, and whatnot. So, what are the common infrastructure uh, requirements in which there are a lot of jobs, and also which are really booming right now? So, can you, with respect to say India or UAE or across the world, do you have any thoughts on what are the different kind of domains in civil engineering, like in the bridge
Yes.
construction or other domains?
Yeah, and booming thing is we have many industries coming up and we have many IT parks coming up. So now the booming is commercial buildings and industrial buildings. So it is like other than that, bridges, it comes once in a while. So we don't have much bridges coming up in the, but we have now metro projects coming up. So now the booming, we can say, like metro projects also, and some into commercial and industrial structures. And for nowadays, what I see is in the market they want to make it in the faster pace, the construction in a faster pace. So they are using composite structures that are combination of steel and RCC. Like they use columns and beams for by steel and the slab by RCC. So it is like a combination of RCC and steel is what many IT companies are also trying on for. And it comes under a green building concept. So since the government is insisting on green building concept, it is like as I see now, it is composite structures, which is a booming one, and also the metro, that is underground tunnel structures. So this is what is mostly I'm seeing in civil construction part, which is booming on now.
Great. Thank you so much. So, say for example, if you take up a planning engineer, right? What kind of say? Let's start from a structural engineer. So, what kind of software? Say, would a structure in order for me to become a structural engineer, should I learn StatPro, Revit, ETABS, and everything, or what softwares relate to which domain? So, can you kind of give a brief about that?
Yeah. Structural engineer, we have divisions like some companies are purely into steel and some companies are purely into RCC. And we do where they do industrial structures, the candidate should have knowledge on RCC and steel. So it depends upon the interest of the candidate also. If he is really interested in RCC kind of structures, then it is required that he should have knowledge on AutoCAD. That is the basic drafting tool which is used by all the engineers. Then you should have a knowledge in Revit, that is a BIM tool, to identify the clashes, to see the virtual reality of the structure, whatever he is going to do. And he should be aware of ETABS and StatPro software if he prefers to be in the RCC domain. If he wants to be in the steel domain, as I said, it is like Tekla structures, Tekla for detailing, then Descon, Limcon, all these are into connection designs, because we have n number of companies who are specifically into steel domain. I don't know whether I can specify the names of the companies, but to be frank, we have many companies from UK who have offices in Chennai who are into specifically into steel domain, where they do UK projects, and they use all these kind of softwares like Tekla, Descon, Limcon. So and we have now, as I said, the booming is composite structures. Now they are into K310 and RF EM software called Dulbal. So now many companies are shifting to composite structures also. So this is the domain, and this is the expertise of softwares they have to know about if they are going on in design field.
Say for example, if they are going and taking a look into planning, right? What type of tools that they need to kind of know?
If they are into planning, then they have to know MS Project or Primera. Primera is the tool which is used for planning engineers.
Okay. Okay, I think I'll try to answer one question that Nikhilesh Pillai has. Curious to know what is the next step after I have studied softwares. Nikhilesh, software learning the software alone is not the essential thing. How you need to kind of think about this is probably the first step is to kind of understand the theory behind structures, and also understand the different codes. Once you basically know that, you start learning different the software that you basically want to work on. Say if you're looking at RCC, steel, or composites, or say bridges, drainage systems, or geospatial, whatever you're looking at, that particular software. What happens is once you basically do that, when you even learn that software, immediate thing that you need to do is kind of start applying a theory in a software, in using that software. So essentially you need not learn the software in a way where, okay, where is this button, what is this button going to do, more of, okay, how is what happens when I click a particular button in the backend, right? Why is that really helpful is because uh, it allows you to build projects. So one of the thing that you need to do is as you work on as you learn new concepts, you need to increase the ability for yourself to start implementing those new tools for a industry oriented project. Say you need to consistently work on projects that develops a portfolio, right? So this portfolio is what helps you get a job, right? So these are different types of things that you need to start looking into. Um, so Anu, I was asking you, say for example, these there are different domains, right? Say for example, when you build a big construction of a, say, 1,000-member community, 1,000
Yeah.
house community, then you need to even design about how the water flows, and
Yes.
how the drainage flows and everything, right?
Yes.
uh, who does that, and what are the softwares that allow them to do that? And if you basically extrapolate my question, so what are the softwares that basically allow the city planning, right?
Yeah.
Say the whole holistic city planning and everything. So is there, is there scope in that? That is one thing. And what are the softwares that people usually use?
Yeah. So normally the town planning or city planning is done by professionals. You have completed master in town planning. That is they it can that course can be done by a civil engineer as well as an architect student. So normally they use softwares like GIS. Then we use softwares like Sewer CAD. We have some softwares only for city development. So it is not you should have some master's degree. It is not that we, after completing BE, we can just enroll into that. It is a specialized structure, so you should have MTP, that is Master in Town Planning degree, to to gain knowledge in those kind of professional areas. Surya, can you hear me?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. There
Yeah.
is a slight delay, but that's fine. I think we
Yeah,
can.
I've connected through my phone. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, no problem. I know there have been a little bit of questions that have come in. So let me kind of try to take those questions, and I'll basically allow you to answer those questions.
Sure,
Uh,
sure, Surya.
so Tamaj Mullah is asking how to join big multinational companies like ARUP, without experience. So what are your thoughts regarding that?
Yeah. For joining a multinational company, as I said, you should have basic knowledge, because if you go and attend the interviews, also the basic questions will be about BMD, SFT, what are the codes used, then maybe what will be the procedure, how you do the footing design, because all these designs are already captured in your BE syllabus. So it is that it is not that they will ask you to do a footing design or something like that, but you should know what is the procedure to do a footing design or a column design or a beam design, just for their reference, whether your basic is strong. It is not that you just do a modeling in software and complete the design. So it is mandatory. You should know the basic, that is a procedure for a design of any structural element, and also the structural analysis part.
So,
So for a
so
fresher, those kind of questions will be the interview point of view of questions normally
yeah.
they ask.
So I totally agree with what Anu was saying. One additional thing that I would recommend you guys to do is, say, Nawaj Mullah. The way that you need to approach, a way that any fresher needs to approach a job is basically you need to kind of uh, ask, how do I get that experience, right? So you basically need to develop that experience even without work experience. Say, how is that possible, right? Say, for example, you learn a really good level of theoretical content in your undergrad, right? Now what you need to do is you need to start implementing the theoretical content using a particular tool. It might be different softwares, but you need to kind of start working on industry oriented projects. Say, for example, if you're designing a high rise building, so how to design a high rise building, or industrial design of a building, or a normal home. So how you need to build a portfolio for yourself. And that's one of the very, very key elements that you need to start looking into, because only when you have a portfolio, you can basically showcase to the recruiter that you are basically have spent enough time to apply the theoretical understanding that you have gained through your undergrad. Because, say, for example, Arup kind of institutions are not going to kind of give you a interview without you showcasing a portfolio, because the fact is you and your friend or everyone in your engineering might have the same kind of resume. Everybody will have AutoCAD, everybody will have Revit, everybody will have StatPro. But how does the company differentiate who knows the tool really well and also understands the fundamentals really well, right? Of course, GPA is a metric, but every engineering graduate has more than 70 GPA, 70 percentage or 7 GPA. So something that you need to kind of think about is how do you develop portfolios, how do you work on projects, industry oriented projects. And that's where something that we do at Skilling is we basically provide civil engineering courses like masters in high rise building design, where you can basically take up the master course and work on at least 14 to 15 projects in multiple domains, right? We will definitely talk about it a little later, but that's something that you can basically look into. What is Jamir asks, what is the requirement and skills needed to start a small construction business?
If you want to start a small construction business, then you should know from scratch what a civil engineer has to do. That is from leveling of the ground till what are the details to be followed or the procedures used for construction, that should be followed, like from what to say, that leveling, how to do site grading, how to do the survey, how to do because all these things you should at least have basic knowledge to identify whether the persons whoever you are appointing to do the work is doing it correctly or not. Otherwise it is like all these will be gained only through experience, or like you should have thorough knowledge on how do they do the survey of the a land survey, how do they mark the column, because those are the critical thing before construction. For example, if you mark wrongly a column position and you don't identify it in the early stage, then it is like that column position will not be as per the drawing whichever you have got from the architect. So it is mandatory that you should know skills from ground leveling, column marking, site grading, then like what are the tests which you should follow doing when the concrete or RMC comes to site. What are the like how you have to plan for the material before if you have pouring to be done today, then you should plan for the material maybe 10 days in before, because you should do cutting of the reinforcement bars, you should do tying. We have a lot of preparation before construction is not a small job. It is like you have to pre-plan everything before your planning of the schedule. So it is like for that you have to pre-plan, like softwares like Primera we use for planning, right? So you can just pre-plan according to that. You have to get the drawings from the consultant whom you have appointed for the design. So everything, it is like you should have the basic skills and knowledge, basic knowledge, or you can say you should need advanced knowledge on those things if you are planning to start a small construction company.
Makes total sense. Um, okay, so I think Surjakanta Chaudhary had another question. I'm doing construction management from NICMAR. Uh,
Okay.
I have done an internship in project planning and control where I worked
Okay.
on Primavera. The challenge I faced is I had lack of site knowledge. Do you recommend
Yes.
me to have some site experience and then switch to planning, or I can continue with planning right from the start? The second question is
Sure, yeah.
I'm getting familiar with BIM. I see a lot of scope on BIM 4D and 5D in planning. What
Exactly.
softwares do I need to learn in BIM so that I can work on planning? I have heard about Synchro. Also, what part of Revit I can put more emphasis on as it is very vast?
Yeah. So even though you are a construction, if you are interested in planning, or you are a structural, you are interested in domain, it is like you should have some knowledge on what are the things we are doing at site. Like it is mandatory before you start stepping out into any profile, it is mandatory that you have a site visit and learn how they do the grading at site, because it is not as per the books. Whatever we learn, it is not the exact what they follow at site, because it depends upon the area, the site, where it is located. uh, we have many difficulties when we start with a project. So it is mandatory that you have, before switching on into planning or construction management, it is mandatory that you should gain some site knowledge, how you do the test, how you do the grading, how you do the BBS, basic knowledge on BBS, how you do the bar bending, cutting at site. All those things is mandatory. And
Alexa, reduce volume by 2 points.
Sorry.
yeah, and regarding BIM is a vast area, and it is since you have started with BIM, you have to know how, because BIM is useful to identify the clashes, and it is a real virtual reality tool which is used in all the top MNCs companies to identify and rectify in the concept stage whatever errors occur after construction. So nowadays Revit is mostly used in most of the consultant company, and it is a coordination tool between a contractor and a construction consultant. So it is mandatory that everyone has to gain knowledge on Revit.
Okay, I'm doing Digmar as a first year student. So Ashish Upadhyaya is asking, as a first year student, what software should I try to get basics of? AutoCAD, Revit, ETAP, StatPro, or Primavera? Any of these, or how should I? If I'm a first year student, how should I go about learning things?
Yeah. So being a first year student, I think you should have a basic knowledge on AutoCAD 2D drafting, and then after which you can go on with 3D modeling, that is using Revit. Because AutoCAD you have 3D, but it is not that good as Revit. So it is you learn the basic AutoCAD drafting, basic detailing of a beam, detailing of a footing. All these things you can be thorough up with using AutoCAD software. And after which you can move on when you complete the design. That is, I think in your third or fourth semester you will be learning about design of concrete structures. That time you can just move on with the designing software like ETABS and StatPro. Primavera, it is for planning. If you are going on in with planning field, then it is mandatory. Then you have to look in with Primavera software. If you are going on interest is to design domain, then design software is mandatory, that you should gain knowledge on design softwares.
So if I'm a first year, how should I think about this, Anu? So should I go into design, or should I go into planning? Should I go into how should I kind of navigate the space of civil engineering?
It depends upon the interest of the candidate, Surya. That is if he's really interested on design is full of analytics and problems oriented, and he should be able to visualize, it is 25% it is more into architecture also. So if he is really interested into designing a structure, and if he wants to see it in virtual reality, then he can go into domain. Or it is no, I'm just interested into quality, quantity, and all those things, then it is they can go into planning. So some students might not be having interest on structural analysis, because it is more into formulas, integral part, and all those things. In that sense, but it is mandatory they should have a good knowledge in like as I said, bending moment and shear force diagram, which covers a major part of designing field. So it depends upon the student. If he is really interested in pursuing his career into design field, then he can look into AutoCAD, Revit, and in the third or fourth sem he can look into ETABS and stats software.
Okay, great. Okay, thank you. Um, so, what are opportunities in civil engineering in drainage, water supply, sewer line design? Does this domain have scope in the market?
Yes, this domain has scope in all the projects, because nowadays all the projects are coming up with rainwater harvesting system, and drainage is mandatory for the project. So it is not a separate field. It is like you have to combine and work with MEP people. That is the mechanical people who normally design the drainage, water supply, and sewer line for like big projects or commercial projects. They are, you will be just getting an idea and loads from them, and you will be designing the drainage system like required STP or OTP for the required project. Because the civil scope is it is to routing the water supply or drainage. It is just mandatory that you have knowledge on designing of septic tanks, and or yeah, or else you, if you're interested into working on sewage treatment plant projects, then it is different. Then you should have knowledge on primary clarifier, how it works, what is a secondary clarifier, and all those things. So sewer line and drainage water supply is mandatory for all the projects, and it will be designed by the mechanical engineer. Only the element, the structural element, will be designed by the structural engineer or civil engineer.
One question I kind of saw was from Jamir. What are essential softwares for designing and planning of residential buildings for professionals?
Essential softwares. What are the essential for designing and planning of residential buildings for professionals? Normally in India, we use softwares, these two softwares only for designing of residential buildings, because normally we go in with G+1 or 2 or 3. So we go on with ETAP software or StatPro. Because if it is an RCC building, then preferably ETAPs, because we get the area of steel less in ETAPs compared to StatPro. So if it is a steel building, then we prefer going on with. So since it is a residential building, it is obviously RCC, so it is ETAPs.
Okay, great. Hey, Anu, I also kind of wanted to kind of get your thoughts on one of our courses. So, as you know,
Yeah.
you basically designed the Masters in High-Rise Building Design.
Yes.
And so we basically cover, say, there is 2 semesters. Can you explain how this course is helpful for students? So there was
Sure.
comments that people asked me about this coursework, and if how this would be helpful.
Sure,
And
Surya. Sure, Surya.
can you compare, say, ME in civil versus Masters in High-Rise Building Design? What you would
Yeah.
suggest, and
Sure.
why?
Sure.
Why?
Yeah, sure, we'll do that. This course specifically for masters in high-rise building is designed in such a way that anyone who takes up this course will surely get an opportunity to work in either in RCC design companies or steel design companies. So I have split this course in 2 semesters. If you see, the first semester I have covered all the RCC concept, and in the second semester I have covered all the steel concept. To go in depth, if you see the semester 1, I have covered in civil engineering fundamental module. What I have covered is, as I said, the basics of all the civil engineer has to know. That is, like what are the building materials used for design in detail, and then the test which is done at site when the concrete arrives at site, and to check the workability of concrete, what are the mandatory tests we have to do at site. So because we learn it in the college days, but once when you go on with the interviews, or when you are going on with site to work as a structural engineer in any companies, these are the basic concepts, but you don't remember that. So it is mandatory. Even if you're a structural engineer, you are going to site for any meetings, they will be site engineers will approach you with queries like what is the water cement ratio which has to be used for concrete, what are the tests that has to be done at site, like some questions like that. So it is mandatory that you have to know the how to calculate the concrete mix design, how to do the BBS, how to calculate the BBS. So all these modules we have covered in the civil engineering fundamental module. You will be taught with how to calculate the concrete mix design. You will be taught with how to do the BBS, that is a bar bending schedule, and also what are the tests which we are done at site, which we are doing at site when RMC is coming, and all the building materials. And then after completing the basics introduction of construction technology, we will be moving on with the AutoCAD, which is the 2D drafting of AutoCAD buildings, where you will be taught with all the like how to do a model with a coordinate system. Then moving on, we will be teaching you how to illustrate a basic plan, that is an AutoCAD plan of a residential building. And once you finish this course, you will be able to do a plan by yourself with the dimensions, and also you will be able to do the structural detailing of any structural elements like footing, column, beam, etc. All these we have covered in that second module of this course. And third is the we are going on with the Revit course, because once you finish the 2D in AutoCAD, it is mandatory that you learn how to do the 3D. So we are taking you to the Revit course, where you will be learning how to do a basic plan, whatever you have created in AutoCAD, how you do the 3D for that same, that is the how you design your residential elevation. You will be able to do the 3D elevation for your own residential building, or like your dream project maybe. And then you can do it in a 4D simulation using Naviswork. So the Naviswork will also be covered in our Revit course. So this is how we have designed our syllabus for this Revit module of this course. And next is the ETABS. In ETABS particularly, we have two kinds of subdivisions. Like in ETABS, we have taken a high-raised building design, so that you will be, once you are done with that design, it is obvious that you will be able to do any kind of building design in RCC model. So here we have covered like in depth knowledge how you have to calculate the dead load for a building, live load for a building, how you have to calculate the wind load and the seismic. And I have categorized this ETABS and StatPro into two, and I've taken into consideration in ETABS you will be learning more into seismic design of a building, so that if you're when you're joining any company, and if you're getting an opportunity to work on a project in a seismic zone, you have to know how the building behaves. So we have included a seismic design in ETABS, and in StatPro we will be covering both building design of RCC and in steel building design, industrial building design in StatPro. And we will be teaching you in-depth knowledge about IS 875, how to calculate the wind load manually. All these things will be covered. That is like you will be working on a live project, like working on any companies. So this is how, that is how we have we wanted the candidates to have a professional touch when they are doing their projects. So this is what we have covered in our semester 1. And in the semester 2 module, it is mostly into steel domain, that is like structural steel modeling using Tekla, which is again a 3D modeling software which is used to detect the pipe clashes in an industrial project, and any other clashes like beam to beam or truss to truss clashes, everything will be identified using Tekla. So we will be taking you into a detailed modeling of a structure, industrial structure. Then after which the connections used in that model will be taught in the second chapter, that is the introduction to connection designs and DexLab. This the connection designs, because we as per my experience, I've seen companies who are mainly focusing on connection designs and DexLab alone for their UK clients. So I thought it is mandatory that all the students or candidates who are enrolling in this design course should know knowledge about connection designs, which is a main part in the steel design. So it is fully into connection designs and DexLab. And next is the design of composite structures that we are planning to take up in the ETAP software, because composite structures normally many companies are designing using ETAP structures. So that's how ETAP software is used for composite structures. And again, it is tensile structures, which will be where we will be teaching the design of tensile structures using Dulbol software, which is an RFEM software. And also we will be teaching the fabric design which is used in this tensile structures using, I think most of them will not be aware of what a tensile structure is. For example, you might have seen in stadiums like a sleek structure with a fabric above that. That is called a tensile structures, and it is replacing widely in steel field. Nowadays we don't use heavy steel structures for construction of stadiums and all those things. Nowadays we most of the people are using tensile structures with fabric element. So we have a separate software which is used for K3 called K3 tent, which is used for this fabric design. So those two softwares we are covering in this design of tensile structures, and after which we will be teaching, because all these projects will be having a tank design. It is mandatory that every project should have a overhead tank or an underground tank or an STP tank, whatever it is. It should be an RCC tank. So it is mandatory that they should have knowledge on design of tanks. That is why we have given a priority for design of tanks in this semester. And finally, we will be teaching about the shear force diagram and bending moment diagram for different kinds of beams, how it behaves, so that once you take up this course, when you're going out, it is like you will be having a thorough knowledge about concrete construction technology design, and also the basics of structural analysis, so that when you are attending any interviews, you have a huge chance of getting placement into any design companies, because these are the this is what a engineer or a person who is interviewing you will be looking into, a basic engineer should have all these criteria. But when you are when you have worked on live projects, it is a plus for you people after attending this course. So that is how I have drafted this course, Surya, because I have seen many engineers, budding engineers coming on with no basic knowledge. So I thought these are the things which the budding engineer should have. So that is why I've drafted this course in this way.
Sure. So, guys, what I'm doing is I'm also putting this link out here in the chat box. So, unfortunately, I know there are a lot of questions, I think we are kind of short of time, and it's 6 o'clock. So, what I can do is basically. Uh, so we can take one more question. Tushar Joshi is asking, I'm in the final year of civil engineering. Final exams are pending, and maybe this year there will be no job opportunities. What should I do to prepare for next year? Should I look for a job or government exam or enhanced skills? Tushar, if you are someone who is interested in civil engineering and if you want to kind of continue in the same domain, I would definitely recommend to take this time to kind of put your efforts in upskilling yourself in a area of interest. Say, for example, the post COVID-19. Say, for example, if you start now, this is like July, so you have 5 to 6 months for the next year to start. So if you spend the next 5 to 6 months in developing your portfolio, working on real life projects, your ability to kind of build a strong profile kind of increases. So if you want to kind of stay in the same construction engineering domain, that's what I would definitely recommend. So applying learning new skills and updating your profile is what I would strongly recommend.